Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm calling to order the regular meeting of the zoning administrator for the city of San Clemente. My name is Cecilia Gallardo Daly, and I'm the zoning administrator. The first item on the agenda is to receive and file the minutes of the zoning administrator meeting of February 18, 2021. So received and filed. The next item on the agenda is oral and written communication. This is the time on the agenda for anyone who wishes to address the zoning administrator on an issue that is not on the agenda. They may do so now. Members of the audience may address the zoning administrator on any item within the jurisdiction of the zoning administrator that is not on the agenda. The zoning administrator is not permitted to discuss or take action on any items that do not appear on the agenda. I've not received any requests for oral and written communication, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is public hearings. Our public hearings are a process that includes a staff presentation by the applicant, or a staff presentation by our staff planner, a presentation by the applicant not to exceed 10 minutes, and public testimony not to exceed 3 minutes per speaker. Following closure of the public hearing, the zoning administrator will respond to questions raised during the hearing, discuss the issues, and act upon the matter by motion. So we have one public hearing item today, and that is a minor exception permit and a minor cultural heritage permit for the property at 248 West El Portal. And our staff planner, Katie Crockett, will give us a presentation on this item. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I do have a quick PowerPoint that will just, in case anyone else is watching, will just help explain that. So this project requests a minor cultural heritage permit to remodel the exterior and make a small addition to a legal non-conforming single-family residence, which abuts a property with a historic structure. A minor exception permit is also requested for the small addition to maintain the existing 14-inch encroachment into the front setback already existing at the property. And a second floor deck is proposed, requesting small encroachments into the front and side setbacks. Next slide. Okay, so you can see the project site here. It's located on West El Portal between Buena Vista and the Las Palmas Elementary School in the medium density residential zone and the coastal zone overlay. The site is surrounded by other properties in the RM zone, mostly multifamily residences with several single family residences as well. Next slide. The subject residence, the subject house was permitted in 1956 with an in-the-bank garage, which you see here in the photos, and a deck over that garage. The property has an existing non-conforming front setback, which encroaches 14 inches into the required 15-foot setback. And that's at what's called the nook on the site plan and floor plan, which is kind of up and behind the garage. The property abuts 1102 Buena Vista, which contains a historic structure. As you can see from the photo on the right there is a structure on 1102 Buena Vista property, which is not historic, which separates the historic structure from this property. So while it's abutting, it's not actually abutting that historic structure. Next slide. So this is a partial site plan of the front of the subject property. The green area is the 8 square foot addition at the front of the house. As you can see, it maintains the existing house front setback. This area is above and set back from the in-the-bank garage, as I previously noted. This makes the addition area minimally visible from the street. The orange and yellow areas represent the area of encroachment into the front and side setbacks for the second story deck. A 12-inch encroachment is requested in the front, which is less than the existing residence encroachment, and a 6-inch encroachment is requested at the side. The zoning ordinance allows applicants to request small encroachments into the front setback up to 15%, which is 27 inches, and side setbacks up to 20%, which is 12 inches. And that's for both primary or accessory structures. The requested encroachments are only about half of what the applicant could request. Next slide. As you can see from the photo here, the existing structure has relatively kind of a modern design with the roof lines and the window forms, but the wood trims and the mansard roof at the garage especially make the property appear dated. The applicant proposes to remove those wood trim boards and the mansard roof at the garage. They'll maintain the light colored stucco exterior with dark wood beams. The new railings at the existing deck above the garage, as well as the proposed second floor deck, are stainless steel cable with wood planks. These new elements, in conjunction with the existing and proposed windows and the existing roof line, will create a cohesive modern architectural style while still complementing and not detracting from the historic structure that's nearby. Next slide. I also included the side elevation here where the second story deck is most prominent. The new deck blends well with the existing structural elements, stepping the building mass away from the street. It's consistent with the way development occurs up and down the street. Also, due to the topography and the curvature of El Portal, the minor encroachment of the deck wouldn't affect any properties to the east with regard to their views toward the ocean. And obviously properties to the west, including the historic structure, would also not be affected in that regard. Next slide. So with that, as I mentioned, this property is in the coastal zone, but it is in the categorical exclusion area and fits within those criteria. Staff recommends that it be deemed categorically exempt from CEQA under Class 1 and Class 5 exemptions. And we recommend that we adopt the resolution approving the exterior remodel, the 8 square foot addition, and the minor encroachments into the front and side setbacks. That's the end of my presentation, and I'm available to answer questions as well. The applicant and property owners are here.
All right, thank you very much, Katie. I don't have any questions at this time. So we will go ahead and ask the applicant if they wish to address the zoning administrator on this item or make any comments about the project.
You don't have to if you don't have anything to add.
We don't have
I'm sorry.
anything to add. Thank you.
I don't. Yeah.
Oh, but maybe our designer is on the phone there. I don't know, Mark, if you have anything to add.
No, I'm sorry. I thought she had a question for the applicant, and it asked me to join the conversation. So I don't have anything if you guys don't.
Okay, and Mark, would you just introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Mark Brooklyn. I'm the designer for the project, working with the owner.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right.
You're welcome.
All right, with that, I am going to open the public hearing. And Katie, I know we received one comment. The commenter wished not to have the comment read into the record, but if you just want to address that issue briefly.
Sure, yes, we received a public comment today, and after reviewing the comments, I was a little bit confused, so I followed up with that commenter, and she actually thought this was for a property, several properties up the street, which is currently vacant, closer to the school. And so once we made that clarification, she did not actually have any concerns about this project.
Okay, great, thank you. And that comment was received from Claire Endrick today. All right, and we haven't received any other public comments on this item. So with that, I will close the public hearing. I've read the report, looked through the plans, read the findings and conditions of approval. Katie, I just wanted to say that this was an excellent staff report. I thought you did a great job laying out how the findings for the minor exception permit and minor cultural heritage permit could be met. And then thank you to the applicant and for the plans and the graphics, which really illustrate well the proposed encroachments, which are very minor.
Thank you.
The encroachments requested are well below the maximums permitted by the code. The proposed encroachments won't substantially modify the existing conditions on the property. I find that the addition of the deck will not negatively impact neighboring properties. The addition of that second story deck takes advantage of the views toward the ocean and won't affect the neighboring properties' views toward the ocean, given the deck's placement and the street topography. The proposed exterior alterations include a facade update with new windows and doors and new railings at the deck, along with the removal of wood trim and the mansard style roof. And all these are consistent with the general plan and the coastal land use plan goal of retaining and enhancing established residential neighborhoods. I think your proposed changes to the home will enhance the character of the existing residential neighborhood. I think you've done a very nice job there. So with
Great.
respect to the minor exception permit to allow a second floor deck to encroach into the front setback by 12 inches and the side setback by 6 inches, and to allow a small addition to encroach into the front setback 14 inches, maintaining the existing non-conforming front setback of the residence, I find as follows: that the requested minor exception will not interfere with the purpose of the zone or the standards of the zone in which the property is located. The neighboring properties will not adversely be affected as a result of the approval or conditional approval of the minor exception permit. The approval or conditional approval of the minor exception permit will not be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the general public. Mark, could I just have you mute yourself, please?
I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, no problem. How do I do that?
I think it's *6.
Okay.
Just getting some background noise there. Thank you. All right. And then with respect to the minor cultural heritage permit, I can make the findings for that as well. I find that the architectural treatment of the project complies with the San Clemente General Plan and Coastal Land Use Plan. The architectural treatment of the project complies with the zoning ordinance, including height and lot coverage, except for the minor exceptions requested for the front and side setback encroachments, which, as I mentioned before, are well below the maximum permitted by the zoning ordinance with a minor encroachment permit. The architectural treatment of the project complies with the architectural guidelines in the city's design guidelines. The general appearance of the proposed project is in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. The proposed project is not detrimental to the orderly and harmonious development of the city. And the proposed project will not have a negative visual impact upon the historic structure. The historic structure is separated visually from the subject residence by an additional residential structure, which is not historic. The project does not affect the height of the historic structure, nor does it significantly impact the massing and scale. Features such as wood shake mansard garage roof and wood trim will be removed from the existing structure, and the resulting project will have a cohesive modern appearance, which improve the visual character of the area and will not detract from the historic structure. So with that, I find that the project is categorically exempt from the requirements of CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15301, class 1 existing facilities, and section 15305, class 5 minor alterations in land use. And I approve resolution ZA 21-004, approving the minor exception permit and minor cultural heritage permit for the Halls deck, subject to the conditions of approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now with that, we're going to move on with the rest of the agenda. The next item on the agenda is new business, seeing none. The next item on the agenda is old business, seeing none. Then that concludes the regular meeting of the zoning administrator. This meeting is adjourned until Thursday, March 18, 2021, when the next regular meeting